I mean, there's nothing that could really trigger the entire world, am I right? Okay, so maybe that won't trigger the world, but this video may trigger some World Trigger fans. Triggered World Trigger fans. The trigger triggers, as we can call them. Triggers going trigger. Okay, I'll stop now. Now, before I begin, I also want to let you know that at the very end of the video, I'm going to do my best to kind of create my theory, what I think the neighborhood is. The people who haven't checked out the manga, or who just don't want the spoilers, I don't blame you. At the very end, I'll let you know when to cut it off, and then I'll just do the theory then, and then I'll hard outro. But just keep that in mind, check it out, stay for the whole video. Thank you. So what is World Trigger? World Trigger is a story that takes place on Earth, and at one point in time, a gate opens up, these aliens come through, and spread a bunch of chaos, destroy a bunch of things, and this group of people come and stop it. Later on it's revealed that they've created this secret organization, or it's not so secret anymore, but it's called Border. Sounds like it has an agenda, right? And you heard me say something about the neighborhood. The neighborhood is just what they call the beings that come through the gate, or they're from the neighborhood and they're neighbors. Other than that, the story is just about the main character, or one of the main characters, Osamu, who works with Border and working his way up, doing things like that. The other main character, Yumakuga, is actually a neighbor who comes to them for help. But why does no one recommend it? I'll get to that in the back half of the video. For now, let me just speak on what I like about the series, because I really do. And it's pretty simple. I like the power system. It's called Trion. What I like most about it is the season 2 content, which is the B rank wars, and how that operates within like a pseudo video game world, which is really just a training center. But when they actually fight real beings, they use a Trion body to actually fight in real life and on missions and things like that, so their real body isn't in any harm. There's a varying level of Trion through each person. So like, for instance, Osamu, very low, but he's a smart character. He knows how to, or he learns how to get efficient with it, opposed to Chika Amatori, the main female lead, who has a shit ton. When someone has a lot of Trion, they get a side effect with that, and like Chika's, she can tell when there's neighbors nearby. Another example would be Yumakuga, whose side effect, when he's looking at you, he can tell if you're lying to him or not. A side character, Yuichi Jin, has a really badass one. When he's looking at someone, I believe he can see their future, but it's told through different possible scenarios. But he can kind of make heads or tails of which one are more plausible. It's something like that. So there is some gray area to his skill. I really like the season 2 content, which are the B rank wars. I think it's the second best tournament style arc, and of course it's behind Dark Tournament, right? The best and the biggest highlight of World Trigger, I think, is the supporting cast. A lot of original designs and cool characters with different quirky attitudes. Some are stickler for the rules, some are loose cannons. The way they use their weapons are all different, or not all different, but there's a lot of specialists in certain ways. Speaking to Trion and different type of characters, they have like a pick 10 system, like a loadout from Call of Duty, that they can use different accessories that kind of helps them hide and fight, and that really is like highlighted through season 2, and we see a lot of different cool applications. My favorite character is Ikoma, who is a Kogetsu user, which is like the energy katana. One of the big reasons I wanted to talk about World Trigger, and that's Kire Konami. She is the waifu of the series, best girl, badass, and she's a number 3 attacker. Speaking of that number 3, within each class and weapon use, there's points you get from doing different things in the B rank wars or duels, anything officially through Border. But I'm telling you, check out B rank wars. Man, if there's one way that I could just be like, skip all of season 1, let me just break it down to you what it's about, and you just watch essentially a video game unfolding before your eyes, and some of the dopest high action sequences. you would get so hyped. I'm telling you, you just have to check it out. The best part is the good guys don't always win. That sounds like World Trigger has a lot going for it, but why can't I recommend it? Why I can't recommend it sounds heavier than the things I gave it credit for, but I don't think they're that bad to the point that it diminishes it to a horrible quality. I just think knowing that there's 9 out of 10 arc, just waiting after the first season, and third season is pretty good too. I think that's even better than the first season. I make season 1 sound so bad, but honestly, season 1 is a 7 out of 10, season 2 is a 9 out of 10, and season 3 is 8 out of 10. It starts off slow, and the episode count of season 1 as well. That's another thing. It's like 70 something episodes. There is like a 20 episode filler arc. I skipped it, but I know not everyone's like that. So I can see that's even a big issue with asking someone to watch 70 episodes. It's kind of hard to do. Even watching 50 episodes is kind of hard to do. Think about it, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood's like 60 something. So aside from it starting off slow and the episode count, this is probably the biggest issue, and that the main cast is kind of weak to me. Very vanilla main character. He's not strong, nowhere near the strongest. It's almost like he is like mid as hell, in the exact term, in the middle. And his personality is also kind of just whack to me. I don't know, he's like the good guy, but he just doesn't have, he's not him. Yuma Kuga is more just a kid. He's very playful. He doesn't know a lot about the Earth's culture, so he's learning about that, and people can't lie to him because of his side effect, so that kind of gets him in some weird stuff sometimes. And the main girl is a tad frustrating, being the most having some of the most Treon out of anybody in the series, but she's afraid to shoot people. Yeah, that can be frustrating. I get it. I'm not saying it makes her horrible. I'm not saying she's horrible, but these 3 people are just particularly vanilla to me. They don't ruin the story for me, as I can watch it and I do like it, but I'm just saying that I can see that being an issue for some people. And the last one, it doesn't really bother me, but it's another one of those that I can get why type of things. And there's no real imminent threat that they have to worry about. The Treon bodies kind of bails them out, but I do think where the manga's headed, if it ever gets there, that won't, it will feel like that threat is, always there. And I think that'll be a really, really good arc, and I think they could use it right now because the manga is kind of slow and dragging at this point that they're at. And like Yu Yu Hakusho, which is, I'm not trying to put them two together, saying they deserve to be compared to one another. I'm just saying that the presence of Toguro really shook our main character to his core, and there isn't that in World Trigger. Even when the After Creator guys come with Yuichi Jin's like future telling power, which isn't exact. I give you that, and I'll give you that. I think he may have even been off about some things, but he genuinely gave them a good idea to go by how big the forces were, and that may not even bother some people. And like I said, where it's getting to in the manga, it looks like that will be handled, or at least I think that imminent threat will be handled, because where they're going, I can't see how they can store their Treon bodies in a totally safe place, or with like their whole forces kind of on guard. But other than that, that's really about it. That's my issues, which aren't really issues. Again, it's more about, these are things that I have not found a good spot to recommend World Trigger to anybody because of those reasons, or just because I tried to recommend it and they told me they dropped it already. But other than that, I will do the theory now, so if you don't want spoilers for this section, And I could be way off. I could even be wrong, to be honest. This is really just my attempt at doing something different for an outro. I think that the neighborhood is like a interdimensional United Nations kind of, and Earth decided to leave that group so that way they can, you know, I'm not sure if for good reasons or for bad reasons. Maybe it has something to do with Rajimaru's owner. I forget his name, the little dude that rides the I don't know, gerbil, I forget what, capybara, whatever the hell it is. Some of the neighbors may agree with them. That's why they aren't all aggressive against them and try to attack them. Then there's the side of the neighborhood that disagrees with what they did and don't like them. So now they launch attack at them because they can. That's it. And that could have been disproven already. I do read it, but I've taken a long break in between from where I left off to where I started. If the arc that's about to come up when they go to the neighborhood, to a after crater, if that bangs, then I'll reread it all again that way, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But other than that, appreciate you staying. Let me know what you think, if there's any theories or anything like that you want to share in the comment section below. Until next time, stay normie, stay weeb, shit even in between is fine. Till next time, peace.